Hello, how are you?
I am well. How are you?
Yes, good, thank you.
Good. Someone just sent me a picture of a cheese toastie, and now I'm jealous.
I won't show you what's next to me then.
All right. Okay. No, please don't. I'm very hungry. Oh,
It's the last one. I couldn't quite fit it in.
why don't we have the technology to send food over the internet yet?
Oh, give it a few years. I'm sure it will happen.
Maybe.
That would be the end of world poverty then, wouldn't it? We could just chuck the food through.
Good.
Yeah, have the rest of my pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. What have you been up to this week?
Uh, I did a decent long run on Sunday,
Very good. Yeah,
24 miles,
yeah.
with 1,000 meters of climbing in it. So I was very happy with that.
Well, that's quite a lot. Yeah. Was that local?
Yeah, it was sort of all south of Buxton, sort of an area I'd never explored before. So I'd literally just clicked on a whole bunch of footpaths that I'd never been on before and just rolled the dice. And fortunately, it went really well.
Mm. I know it well down there. I used to run around there all the time. You got Chrome Hill and Park
Yes. Yeah, I went up the one next to Crome Hill. What was it called again?
Parkhurst.
The other side.
Oh,
I
mm.
can find it. I can find it.
Get me map out. Um,
Um, High Wealden.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit further away. Yeah, yeah, than those. But yeah, it was a wonderful route. So yeah, high wheeled and then sort of around Hartington, the Lathkildale.
Well, that was my stomping ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. Lathkildale is just. I'm in the next dale. Well, I was.
yeah. I've never been down there before. I know there's a race called Leg It Round Lathkill, so I was really
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to do that. It's great. And it starts and finishes at the pub, so it's a winner.
perfect. Although, yeah,
Um,
my route mapping did go a bit haywire at that point because the path that supposedly you could go down into like the top of the dale before it even gets to any other paths just did not exist. So I ended up having to skip through a farmer's yard which said no footpaths, no access. It felt a bit dodgy.
yeah.
Yeah, it was literally I could see the footpath on the other side. So
Oh no.
about
Oh,
40 meters of just like walking through and hoping that I didn't get shot.
and you weren't affected by those terrible fires.
No, no, but you could smell it where I
Mm.
was here in Whaley Bridge for sure. Very sad because it's a
Yeah.
up there.
We were out on Monday. No, sorry, I lie. Sun Friday night doing a ride around the peaks.
Mm.
And we went down there. I wasn't sure because I knew it was around the Goit Valley, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to go up and over to Whaley Bridge,
Yeah,
but take the back road, not the main road.
yeah,
So we went down to the reservoir, and I thought, yeah, I imagined the road would be shut where we wanted to go, but actually it was shut off to the left, so it was off up towards the Snake Pass road, wasn't it? Not the Snake Pass, sorry, Cat and Fiddle.
yeah,
Um, but we saw the helicopters. They were still. We stopped and watched a helicopter coming in and filling its bucket,
yeah,
going off. So skillful, amazing.
yeah. I saw videos of people doing of them doing that, and I wondered how much water can they get in those things, and just how much of a difference does it make? But I'm sure they can get to spots that the fire
Mm.
engines and other people just can't. So it must be pretty.
Carlsberg. Yeah, I don't know if they. I think they do it less to put the fire out and more to try and soak the area to stop it spreading, don't they?
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure, but that's why I imagine.
Yeah.
I imagine it would be quite hard to splash it over the actual flames, but maybe more to try and create a barrier around the flames to stop them.
Mm.
Don't know.
Well, it's you can still use all the footpaths around there because someone else in my running club hosts the Shining Tall Fell race. So
Mm.
that
Mhm.
literally
Yeah.
takes you past all the scorched land. So if anyone wants to do that, it's next week, the 14th of May, I think.
Oh, okay. Shining Tall Fell race. Yeah.
It's a great race. It's a great race.
Where does that start and finish?
It starts and finishes at Irwood Sailing Club, just on Irwood Reservoir.
Mm. Oh, okay.
At the finish, clapping people through because I'm not running it.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So that would be just a straight up and it doesn't go up that grassy hill, that bank, does it? Oh, I
uh,
bet it does. That's a killer.
this year, yeah, because they've had trouble with permissions on different paths. So yeah, I think it's pretty much straight up and straight down this year.
That's a nasty, nasty hill. That is.
It is classic fell racing.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Yeah.
flagstones at the top are a lot of fun to charge along if you've got any legs left.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the coming back down again that's the problem.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, so we have our interview with Camille,
Yeah.
which is very exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing from her. She's been coming back a bit more on social media recently, which is quite good. Did you see her comrade's blooper?
No.
Oh my God, it was so funny. It was from I think 2017,
All right. Okay.
but she thought she'd crossed the finish line,
Right. Yeah.
but I think there was a bit of a dog leg. So she's kind of, or maybe she thought she was just coming up to it, but so she was like hitting everyone's hands as she'd slowed right down to a jog and she was giving everyone high fives. And then I think an attendant, an official who was saying, no, 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 you got to you got to keep going. I think
But
people,
you're not there yet.
you're not there yet. You're not there yet. You've got another 200 meters or something. And then, eventually the penny drops and it was like, oh shit. You see it. Oh, okay, got to leg it.
Oh man.
But I think it's nice that she shares stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's really.
Um,
I've just found it. Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
There's
Uh,
there's no urgency. She's just sort of just
yeah,
walking,
yeah. She's just enjoying.
and you must know that she's a decent level ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah.
And there's another one on Twitter. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been on there for ages. That she did. It was an air shot of her running along a trail, and she did a massive face plant.
Oh,
And I just think it's not, she said, yeah, we all get it wrong sometimes, but you just got to get up and and keep going. And I just think that's really nice. It just makes elites look more human.
yeah.
But here
And
she is, so we shall admit her admit her into the room.
wonderful.
As we wait for everything to turn on. Hello, hello, hello. How are
Hello.
Hi.
you? Lovely to see you.
Yeah, I was actually trying to last night I was listening through our the last time I chatted with you was like before my 6 day world best. So a
Yes,
lot has happened since then. So
it certainly
good to
has, hasn't it?
reconnect.
Robin,
Yeah.
Camille, this is Robin.
Hello, Camille.
Hi.
Very nice to meet you. Running royalty in our presence.
Thank
Robin's
you so
very young
much.
and he's new and I'm living my ultra life through him. So I make him run. I make him enter all the races.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
I'm just building up to 100 miles this year. So
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got this microphone stand, and I was playing with it last night. So yeah, I don't know how to position this thing, but well, I hope it works okay. But
Oh,
I'm
it's
like
fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's
I'm
cool. It
trying
looks
to
it looks like a
okay.
very impressive piece of equipment.
Yeah, because normally I like sit at a table and I'm like, I would be able to do this on a couch. So
Yes, yeah, be comfortable. But you've got a race this weekend, haven't you?
I do. Yeah. I've always wanted to do the Ice Age 50 miler up in Wisconsin. And it's kind of fun to look back through like my original goals that I set for myself like 10 years ago. And you're like, oh my gosh, like wow, like I can't even believe it. So I went back through my messages and I was like, yeah, the Ice Age 50 miler race director contacted me like 9 years ago. And yeah, I mean we were Facebook friends, but it was just so fun to like remember like, what
Yeah.
were my original goals, and you got to chase after your dreams. Like, there's certain things that I said at the beginning of my career, whether they were winning comrades or,
Yeah.
winning a hundred miler in my home state. I mean, I just kind of set like all these like kind of quirky, like all around goals. And yeah, I mean, it's just been fun to kind of like just check those things off. And it just makes you feel good. Like when you set like a lifetime goal, you're just like, oh yeah, finally I achieved that. So it's really cool.
Have you actually got a list somewhere that you literally check? That's that one done.
I feel like my goals have kind of evolved over time, and so like I look at my original goals, and then yeah, I mean I feel like every year I've set like some sort of new goal list, and then it evolves and I see where I'm at. And but yeah, I mean here I am, I like committed to the sport back in 2015, and now it's like 10 years later, and it's like, okay, what originally inspired me to even do this sport? And so yeah, it's just kind of fun to reflect back on that and then just see where I'm at now. And I'm still going.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so it's happy anniversary.
Yeah, yeah, 10 years. Actually, it was 10 years ago in April was when I ran the Mad City 100K. And yeah, like a star was born back in 10 years ago. Like I had no idea when I ran that race, like how much it was going to change my life. And yeah, and then I went to the 100K World Championship after that, won my first world title. Set a 50-mile world best, won the 50K world title, like all in my first year. I mean, it was just like, I
Wow.
can't believe it.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
That
Um,
must have been incredible. It must be quite
Thank
overwhelming at
you.
the same time to have it all
Yeah,
burst through like that.
yeah, I'm sure
yeah.
you
Oh,
you hadn't
yeah.
planned it. You hadn't planned for that to happen, did you?
No, no. I was working full time in research, and like it's fun to reflect back because I was going to retire from competitive running. Like I don't think people realize like I had already been a competitive runner as a marathoner for 10 years. I'd qualified for 3 Olympic marathon trials. I've competed 5K, 10K, like on the track, cross country, like all that. I'd done that for like a long time,
Mm.
like not knowing what more was going to come. And so yeah, I was kind of at that point where I was like, oh yeah, I think I want to just retire and be done with this. But it was, but I just got inspired that I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sign up for this 100K because I've always wanted to do this race. And that was one of my first original goals was to do the Mad City 100K. And I even remember like back when I was a marathoner because we lived in Indiana. And my massage therapist there was the one who told me, "Hey, I think you should go do the Mad City 100K." And I was like, "Well, how do you run 100K? Like, do you eat sandwiches?" Because like, because he was an ultra runner, and I was like, I don't even know how to fuel. Like, do you stop and like have a meal? Like, I don't even know what to do. And it was funny because I went back through my messages a couple years ago and I found that correspondence that we had, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's just so mind blowing to look back on now. Like,
That's
those early
amazing.
conversations. So.
Do you remember what you did have to eat in that race?
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing in that race. I think it was a 10K loop, and I think I took like a gel every 10K, which is like every 45 minutes or so. And I mean, I reflect back now and I'm like, hardly took any fuel. I didn't carry, I didn't carry any water on me. I never carried water before. So I didn't even know, like I saw people like wearing belts and carrying handhelds and having crew support. I mean, I had never seen, because I came from the marathon, I'd never seen people having like crew. I didn't even know what that was. And so I see, I'm just running along, like not, I had no idea about pace. I think I had in my mind I just needed to run about 80% of max heart rate effort, which is what I'd practiced in training. Because I was like, I think I could do that. And so I just kind of like focused on that.
Oh my God.
And then yeah, and I started getting really, I was grabbing like a single cup of water every 5K from the aid stations. And then I started getting really thirsty by about 60K. And I realized I think I need more water.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, that first 100K, I was driving to work on a Monday, and I remember the sun coming in my eyes and my phone rang, and it was the race director. And he said, "Hey, you broke the championship record by Ann Trayson."
Okay.
And I didn't, I mean, the only thing I really knew about Anne was that she was in the book Born to Run, which I had read back when I was in grad school or like just after grad school. And so I had to Google who was Anne Trayson at work when I got to work. And that was when it dawned on me, oh wow, I just broke one of Anne Trayson's records.
Mm.
And it was kind of overwhelming because I mean, it wasn't like I went into that race like thinking I'm gonna try and break Ian Trayson's records. Like it just happened. Like I just
Mm.
did it. Had no idea how to fuel. I think I lost like 8 toenails in that race because I didn't know how to take care of my feet. Just there were so many things that were like really funny to reflect back on now and be like, I mean, I literally just, it came from me, like just having that talent and doing it and realizing, okay, be pretty good at this.
Gosh. And yeah, I mean, 80% of heart rate the whole way, or sorry, maxing out for 80% is like, wow.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, what I found, I'm just somebody that can sustain a
Mm.
pretty fast pace for a long time. And yeah, I mean, now, like, the past couple of years, I've been part of this research study trying to understand, what's special about my physiology that makes me able to do that. And so yeah, we know I have a lot of slow twitch muscle fibers and really good fat metabolism. And then combined with having a high lactate threshold and VO2 max. So it's kind of like I have the best of being both a marathoner and an ultra runner
Okay.
because I have the internal engine for marathoning, but then I have the muscle fibers and the fat metabolism for ultra running. So yeah, I'm just, I gotta be, I'm blessed from my parents. I got the good genes for ultra
Yeah,
running.
yeah.
So
Oh,
You know what
brilliant.
your VO2 max is?
yeah, so I took a VO2 max test in grad school and I think it was like 65.7. But when I did testing with the Canadian Sports Institute and they did I didn't do a full VO2 max test. We only went up to lactate threshold. And I think it like they had like a predicted VO2 max and it was like something really, really high. And so but I think what was cool about that test that they did was my fat metabolism because they were looking at what the oxygen CO2 exchange or I don't know what I'd have to look at the charts again. But my fat metabolism was just like up there. It was just like incredible. But yeah, I guess I shouldn't say too much because like it's part of the research study that's going to be published here in the coming years. But yeah, I mean I definitely have genetic factors. And yeah, I mean the way I train, I'm very intelligent with my training as well. And yeah, I'm just born for it, I guess.
Oh wow. That's yeah. What I mean, the 100K and this weekend's 50 miler. I mean, they're like sprints for you. I mean, you'll be done
Yeah.
at home in a couple of hours, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend. So I'm going up to the race up in Wisconsin. I have a friend that lives in Chicago that I'm gonna flying into Chicago and then we're gonna drive up there. But he's like, yeah, what all do you need? Like, how can I like help you like try to plan out for the race? And haven't done a 50 miler and I don't even remember when. It may have been like 5 years ago or something, because I've been doing all the like 100 miles and beyond.
Mm.
But yeah, like you said, it's like speed work. It's like how, I could carry probably 3 or 4 hours worth of fuel on me, like get one stop to refuel, and then, maybe change out some water bottles. So
It'll
I'm
be
like,
like that
okay, yeah,
first race again. You'll just need
yeah,
a couple of gels and a cup of water, and you'll be done.
like, truly, yeah. I mean, it's just, well, I shouldn't downplay it because I mean, six hours of running is still quite a bit. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot faster, so I gotta have a different mindset to really like zoom a bit more than I've been doing the past few years.
It's
Yeah.
so funny hearing 50 miler and 6 hours of running even in the same sentence. It should be so much more. Oh man.
Yeah, different league.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Have
it's
you
what
been
you
wa-
used to.
have you been watching the Cocodona 250?
Oh gosh, I tell you, I'm a bit pooped now. And after following the 6 day race last weekend, and then I think it was the Arizona Monster 300. I just
Yeah.
there's just been so many. The
Mm.
backyard, or no, let's see, what is it? No, no. Well, hold on, not no. The backyard's in the fall. I'm sorry. The what's the other one?
Yeah, no, that was
The
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 Dutch.
last race.
It was the Dutch backyard.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They were going
yeah,
too.
yeah. They
There's
broke the
just so
record.
many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And yeah, I feel like my head's kind of been exploding lately because I mean it's just and it's funny because like only ultra runners really understand like, this is what we do. Like other
Yeah.
people that are not from the sport, they'd be like, what is this? They've been running for 6 days or you know. And we're all like geeking out on it. And yeah, I feel like I hit a breaking point yesterday where I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how many days I've been going like tracking all these different races. And so I'm kind of having like a Zen moment like today. I'm like, just need to
Such a
switch
baller.
off a bit.
Switch off for a little bit and then you can go back to it tomorrow and they'll still be running.
Yeah, yeah. I checked in this morning and Dan Green was I think he was like 230 something miles.
Oh,
So yeah, it looks like he's gonna win Cocodona. But yeah, it's yeah, and then I guess Rachel, I don't know what Rachel was at. She was at like 213 when I last checked. She's probably like 220 now.
he's 22
Um,
now, I've just checked.
what is she
Yeah.
at?
I'm,
222 and Dan Green's at
Okay.
240.
Okay.
I'm just
See?
I'm just going in to have a quick look.
But it is
So
nice to watch.
funny.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting sort of development over the last couple of years, tracking and dot watching and streaming, and it's a really interesting development, I think, in the sport and involves people who don't run. It can draw them in.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Once you get like drawn into it, and yeah, and especially like the multi days, like there's kind of been a greater shift to tracking the multi days. I mean, it's like more drama. Like you don't know what the weather's going to be like, and people changing positions, and I mean, you're
Mm.
going through nights with sleep deprivation and like hypothermia, or who knows what's going to happen. So. Yeah, it's like a reality TV show. You're just like you kind of get
Yeah,
sucked
it is.
into it. And yeah, it's so funny to follow. Yeah, I mean you're just like I don't know, it's crazy. And yeah, I mean I just think about where I came from. Like, I mean, at one point I was running like 5Ks, 10Ks, and now I'm into doing like 6-day races. It's like, but I'm so
Yeah.
glad. I tell you, I'm so glad that I gave the sport a chance and that I just took a leap of faith into it because my heart has been my heart and my soul has loved this sport so much and I just like want to do it for my life, as long as I keep my body together and my knees and my joints together, like I can't wait to just see what more is to come. So
How do
Oh,
you how do you manage yourself throughout the week? Do you do a lot of other exercises outside of running to look after yourself, or do you find that it just all comes together?
well, I laugh because my newest thing that I'm doing is golf. So so I shared a picture this morning because we just got our backyard landscaped and one of my first sports when I was a kid was golf. And I've always dreamed of having like a backyard driving range with a putt-putt course and now we finally have it.
oh, oh,
Nice.
fantastic. Oh,
It's
only
so
you can have
fun.
that in the space of America.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Like I still have like my junior clubs because I have my golf clubs and then my parents got me some adult size clubs. So yeah, now like I went out this morning and it was just like a nice like morning routine to like get out and hit some balls and I have wiffle balls. So wiffle balls have like holes in them, so it's not like I'm gonna have to go chase it down like 300 meters.
Oh, does that mean they don't go very far?
Yeah, they go like I've hit a couple like from one side to over the fence on the other side. And so I've had to go chase them down a few times, but yeah, they don't go quite as far as like real balls, so that's good.
A different type of backyard ultra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I had a friend tell me, she's like, yeah, you could have like backyard Olympics and like
You
I
have
want to have
to,
like a
you should train
yeah,
your
I went
tortoises.
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Just having I'm having a blast like with our backyard right now. Like I want to get like archery and maybe like target practice and like darts and like all these cool things that I did as a kid. So
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 have you just moved? I mean, have you moved into a different area?
yeah, so we started building our house back in last year. Like we found this piece of land and it was like so perfect. Like there were actually like two pieces of land that we checked out and this piece of land that we picked had a saguaro. So that's like the big cacti. And this saguaro is like 150 years old. And
Mm.
I've like personified it's the Sawara is a she.
Okay.
I call her her. So we found this piece of land and there's a Sawara behind her house and she's like 150 years old, 150 plus years old, and she looks like she has been through a lot in her life. And I was so inspired by the saguaro, like this piece of land with the mountain view, and here's a saguaro behind her house. And I was like, she looks like she's lived. And that was just so inspiring to me. And I mean, every day I like look out at her and she's still standing. She's still standing. Like all these things have happened to her. She looks like she's been struck by lightning and like birds have like nested in her and she's had things like eating on her. And I'm just like, she's still standing. And I'm just like, that is so inspiring that she is still standing after like, who knows what she's been through. So it's fun to just think about the life that she's lived and just the strength that she has to keep standing. So
Oh, yeah, that's nice. You have to sing Elton John to her.
it's funny because we have our turtles, our tortoises, and then yeah, like all these the soras and the plants and things, and I talk to our tortoises. I talk. the type of person that talks to plants and talks to
Oh yeah,
stores because I
nothing
mean,
wrong
why
with that.
not?
Nothing wrong with that.
What's the
Yeah.
what's the running like in your new area?
Oh, so yeah, so this piece of land where we started building our house, the reason why we fell in love with this area is because it has the Mount Lemon highway that goes up to the top of Mount Lemon. And so we have the mountain view of the Catalina Mountains and we have the Mount Lemon highway. And so about a year and a half ago, I went and did my first workout on the Mount Lemon highway. And I did like 3 miles climbing up and 3 miles climbing down, and I did it like a tempo run. And I was so inspired by that run and by the area because we lived here previously. We lived in Tucson and then lived in Oro Valley 4 years ago, but we hadn't been to this area before. And so I was so inspired doing this workout on the Mount Lemon Highway. I was like, oh my gosh, this place is magical. And so we started kind of like waiting and trying to look at like real estate and houses for sale. And we checked out some houses. And then we were like, you know what? Let's just try and find a piece of land and build a house. And
Oh,
so we went on that journey of building our house. And then we had a rental property that's a little bit north of here. And so I got to know like all the different, there's like bike routes in this area for road running. And then there's also a trailhead that connects to the Sabino Canyon trails. And so I just have the best of like everything. Like I can like go out and, run the bike routes and do workouts there, or I can go to the nearest trailhead to get on the Sabino Canyon trails. And those trails are awesome because it's got like more mountainous trails or like more technical, which is really fun for me because I don't have a whole lot of experience with technical mountain running because I'm from Oklahoma. I'm from the flat plains of the United States, and so it's really fun for me to get on like more mountainous technical trail. And I'm like, ooh, I could like maybe I could dream of doing UTMB or Hard Rock. So yeah, I have like really big goals and dreams, and yeah, I mean, where we live now it really is like a dream just to have like the best of everything between the road running and the trails and the mountain running. So,
I can
oh,
absolutely relate with looking at a new area and basing it on how much you love running there. It sounds like that was the
yeah.
first priority, which it should
Oh, for
always be.
sure. For sure. Yeah. And our rental house that we had was right by a golf course too. And so I had my childhood golf clubs. And so sometimes during the evening time we would get out there and like hit some wiffle balls like on the golf course. And so that was kind of what inspired me to have our backyard with a putt and a driving range. So yeah, I feel like I'm living out my childhood dreams right now.
oh, oh, that's
I can
lovely.
feel like every other ultra runner hearing that you're now practicing on technical terrain is
Mm.
thinking, oh no, I thought these races were safe. Halo's coming for them all.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Like, I don't like coming from a road racing background, like, I mean, it was intimidating when I ran my first trail race back in 2016, and I wore road shoes, and it started to rain like halfway into the race, and the course turned into like a slip and slide. It was literally like a slip and slide, and I had no idea, like, I was slipping all over, and I was like, I was so not prepared for this. But yeah, but you know what? The more you do it, the better you get. Like I've done trail races before with like minimal preparation, and I've actually felt like my technical skills got better during the race. Like, I might start off like kind of fumbly, and then like 20 miles in, I'm like, okay, I think I'm getting the hang of this. So it's I grew up dancing, doing like tap, ballet, jazz, and it's kind of the same sort of thing. Like, the more you work your feet and that those technical skills, like the better you get at it. So Yeah, I tend to be the same way. Like now, like I've been doing all this like road running, like small loop ultra stuff, and then I've been getting back on the Sabina Canyon trails. And like at first I was so like kind of clumsy, like Bambi on ice. And then I could just feel like my skills like coming back and be like, okay, I think I could do this.
Like you're completing the puzzle, like the last thing that you need to conquer in running sort of terrain wise. You're going to be
Yeah.
able to do everything.
I know. That's true. That's true. Yeah, when I set my original goals, like I came into the sport like doing road ultra. And I mean, yeah, that was just a natural transition for me coming from the marathon. But yeah, like I said, I was intimidated by trail running when I first started. It was just like it was scary. Like I remember like doing climbs, like my first time at Western States, and it's like snow, and I'm climbing. And I was scared to death. Like people don't realize like I mean I'm a competitor, but at the same time, like I'm like baby on ice. And so I remember that my first couple years it was very intimidating. And now I have like a completely different mindset to it. Like I get on it and I just love the rocks. Like I think it's so fun. And I've learned you have to throttle your gears kind of like a bike. And yeah, I've gotten better over time. Like I don't have that mindset so much like I did at the beginning where you go like full throttle, like one speed. I know I have to like dial it back and pull back the reins, like, because you got to be safe, obviously. If you want to get to the finish line, you got to be safe. So yeah, I've learned a lot like since that first trail race, and now it's fun for me. Like I love like the long climbs and the technical descents, and yeah, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. So yeah, it's fun.
Well, I think we touched on this last year when we spoke, is that you feel quite strongly that they are very different disciplines. Um,
Gosh, oh yes. Oh yes, so different. I think because I've done so many different things in the sport between, I mean, I run 400 meters on a track. So 400 meters at a track to 6 days. I've crossed over to trail. I haven't done as much of the mountain technical stuff. That's kind of the missing piece, like you said, the puzzle for me. But I have perspective because I've been part of the communities. I've done such a variety of distances and disciplines. And everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. And yeah, sure, it's all ultra running. We're all going beyond the marathon, but at the same time, like you have to train for the specificity of what you do. And so yeah, I mean, when I'm doing, road ultras, I'm training more road. But I still like just from a fun perspective and like mentally, it's nice to mix in some trail running, even when I'm, training for road ultras because it's just fun. Like you got to keep training fun. But yeah, when I'm training for trails or doing like more vertical stuff, then yeah, I get on more trails. But I've found like over time that even when I'm doing preparing for trail races, that I still need to keep in touch with my road speed and my road legs because it that kind of gives me a bit of an edge. I found if I do too much of one thing that I start to feel like a little bit flat. And so yeah, I think for me, just yeah, I mean mechanically, health wise, and just for fun, like I always do better with like blended type of training, but then just having a little bit more specificity to whatever I'm training to race for. So
yeah, definitely.
Looking at the training, your training's well famous really in that you don't tend to do a very long run. Is that still the case? What was it,
yeah.
2 hours or 2.5 hours?
Yeah, I've kind of evolved my training over time. And yeah, I mean I do run very big volume. Like when I try and get in like big blocks of 100, 130 miles per week, but it's all in the details of how you do it. And so I did my master's degree on basically how to optimize mechanical stress for bone and muscle health. and just those principles that I learned on for helping bone, helping muscle, that I started like brainstorming when I was in grad school, like, okay, how can I apply this to running training? And so yeah, my philosophy is built on short, frequent runs. To accumulate big volume. And so I do like 11 to 13 runs per week. But the thing that I found over time, and this actually started happening during the pandemic because we weren't training for races. And so I started kind of tinkering a bit more with my training. And I was like, why am I doing all these long runs? I'm not even training for races. Like, I could still get in a good workout doing 2 hours. And so that was kind of the turning point for me was during the pandemic. I started like reducing the number of long runs I was doing, and then just getting into my 40s too. Like I realized like I've been training hard for a really long time and I just want to be healthy now. Like I want to keep my body together. I want to feel good most of the time. And so it was just kind of this mindset shift of, okay, maybe I need to evolve with where I'm at in my life and with my body. And so I started going into races with like hardly any long runs, like maybe like one run a month over 2 hours. And yeah, I think it was like the Javelina 100 back in what was it, 2021? I have to remember what year that was. Um, but yeah, I started doing, I think I did like three 100 milers in a row, and then I was recovering in between those races. And so I didn't have like much time. It wasn't like I wanted to do like a lot of long runs between those races. And so I was just kind of maintaining my volume in between those races and capping my runs at 2 hours. And then like just, kept racing and kept like doing really well. And then yeah, and then I remember I ran the Jackpot 100 back in 2022, and that's an interesting race because they ended up remeasuring it and it ended up being slightly short. But I still, yeah, we could talk about that. But anyways, I ended up running well, technically, I would if it was 100 miles, I would have run faster than my world record. But for that race, I had only done like one 20-miler leading into it, and then the rest of my runs were capped at 2 hours. And then the last time I had run, I'd run 100 miles back in December, so I only had like one 20-miler, and then just a bunch of like maintenance mileage in between that, and a bunch of speed work, and I ran great. And I was like, you know what? I mean, if you're running like, 3 to 6 ultras a year and you're recovering in between that, and like, do I really need to be doing a bunch of like 30 milers or 3 hour runs? Or, like it was just like didn't make sense to me. And so yeah, I feel like I've found a way to like evolve with my body, evolve my training in such a way that I feel good. Like my body feels really good now. And I haven't been breaking down. At the beginning of my career, I had a lot of hamstring issues, but I've gotten in the gym. I've worked on my whole body strength, and then just evolving my training with age and finding a way to keep leveling up in my 40s. So
Oh
Amazing.
man, that's so interesting. Yeah, you
Mm.
completely blew the template apart, really, I suppose, with the proof that it works with your results.
Mm.
And
yeah,
it just
yeah.
it makes, I mean, I know some people try and split their long runs now as well, and I'm sure that must have really come from the same sort of the same idea that you had, that you don't really need to do it all in one go. You can just split all the running throughout the week and it still adds up to the same
Exactly.
volume. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like I mean I've gone for years of having weekends where I'm still getting in 40 to 50 miles on the weekend, but I'm doing it in like four runs.
Mm.
So it's not like I'm going out and doing like a 30 miler and a 20 miler. I'm it's more like I'm going out and doing like 18 miles one day and like 26 miles the next day, but I'm doing it across like four different runs.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just a mindset shift. And I think being coming from a research background that I have that mental flexibility to think outside the box and to want to tinker with my training, and maybe I can find a different approach, a better way to do it. So I think that really helps, like just to have that mental flexibility. And our bodies change through our lives. And I look back through my training logs when I was in my 20s, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, I mean, it seemed like I was doing so much speed work all the time. But at the same time, I was also training for like 5K, 10K versus, 6 days. So it was pretty different.
Do you have any help? Do you do it all yourself?
With my training, yeah, I mostly train alone. Like, and I really like it that way, especially like because I found out last year that I'm autistic, and I'm somebody that I need like a lot of quiet time to like mentally and physically recharge. And so, and it's not that I don't like running with people, because I do really enjoy my times when I do run with people, but I better understand myself now that because I have a different nervous system, that I need a lot of like recovery time after I socialize or do events. I just better understand my body and what's happening. And so I really enjoy like my quiet time and my solitude. And yeah, just being out on the roads, like, during the day, at nighttime with the wildlife. And I've been getting out on it's funny because I've been doing on these Sabino Canyon trail runs lately, and I've been doing it alone. And like in the past, like I've gone out running with somebody else on the trails so that they could show me the trails. And it's funny because I feel like it's a different experience when you do it alone, because you're like, wait a minute, I don't remember this like technical part. Because I was probably running with someone else, and we were like yapping, and like the train just kind of flies by. So it's a different experience when you do trail running by yourself, and you're like wow, I don't remember this part, but yeah, let's work through this technical section. So
It's the same with. I mean, I did my long run the weekend, and I fell over at one point, and I was like, oh gosh, I hope I've not done anything like too serious, because I've not been on this trail before. I don't really know how close it is to the nearest sort of village or anything like that. So you do sort of
that's
roll the
true.
dice a little bit, don't you, with going
Yeah,
out by yourself. But absolutely, the
yeah,
freedom of being out and alone and the solitude, I completely get that. Yeah,
yeah.
it's so
Oh
different
my gosh.
from everybody else.
It's so different. Yeah, that reminds me, like I went to the Western States Trails one year, I think it was like 2022, and I went to go run the first 15 miles of that course, and I did it alone. And I don't, so the first 15 miles of
Yeah.
Western States is like super technical. And I normally I'm run it during a race. So I have people around, and there's aid stations, and you're getting help. But I did it alone, and I saw two bears. Two bears.
Oh,
And
Yikes.
I had taken I at one point, because when I went and ran it, there was still sheets of ice and snow. And so I kind of got off the trail for a bit, and I had the GPS on my watch. And so I was trying to look at my watch, and I realized, okay, I went off this way and I need to go back this way. So fortunately I got back on the trail. But I'm doing it alone, and I saw two bears, and I couldn't get cell coverage because it was not, I couldn't get cell coverage, but I had it was a Garmin InReach.
yeah.
So like my lifeline was like my Garmin InReach if anything serious happened to me. But fortunately, the two bears that I saw, one of them, it like ran up a tree, and he was like, or she, I guess it's because they're like coming out of hibernation, so they're all kind of like woo. And so it was definitely did not, it was scared of me. It definitely didn't want to have anything to do with me. And then I saw another bear as I kept going, and that like ran off at a distance. And so It's like, you know what? Trail running by yourself can be a little bit dangerous, a little bit unnerving. Fortunately I made it to my husband. Like he was at mile 15, and I'm feeling grateful that nothing major happened, and yeah, it was an adventure for sure.
Oh God. And do you not have mountain lions where you are?
That I have seen eyes. Yes, I have seen things, and I fortunately, like, I have not had anything scary or dangerous, which I think is actually more rare. But like even my husband and I, when we had our rental house up north, that we were walking one night and we saw the eyes from a mountain lion that was like sitting off by the golf course. And I was like, yeah, fortunately, it was just kind of sitting there and like didn't want to have anything to do with us. So,
Oh no.
Can't really relate to that.
No. Thankfully.
I'm still alive, so that's good.
I was going to say your Garmin InReach isn't going to help you in those
No.
scenarios. I think I
Um,
was talking to, do you know Luca Leonard? Lucha Leonard.
Oh yeah, yeah, Lucia, yeah. Uh-huh.
I was talking to her about mountain lions when she was trying to do triple
Oh,
200s, and she said you've got to
yes.
make a lot of noise when you go up the mountainside. You got to like clap and make lots of noise so that they're
Yeah.
before you get there or something.
Oh my
So,
gosh. I can't like 300 miles on those trails, and like I was curious about the wildlife that they encountered, because I who knows? You
oh
never
yeah.
know what you're gonna. I mean, that's a long distance to go for many days, and the possible animal encounters you could have. So,
And you're not in a really fit state mentally, are you, to deal with something or remember how am I supposed to deal with this or I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, your brain. I mean, I'm trying to go for speed records around a small loop, and I'm not having to worry about danger like that.
No.
But when you're doing the Cocodona 250, the Arizona Monster 300, you're going for days, and you're sleep deprived, and you're having to, like, not trip and fall, like, the animal encounters, worrying about hydration, fueling. I know that like Lucia, there were long stretches where they did not have any aid or water. And I remember thinking, my gosh, because she really had to like pack herself down to make sure she had enough water on her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's a totally different beast than what I'm used to. And so I was really inspired by her journey that she went on. And yeah, I mean getting to the finish line of that race was just amazing. So
Do you think there is a trend now towards longer and longer races?
it's definitely happening. Like even with the 6 day event that we did last year, like I always knew that it would be really cool just knowing the history of 6 days and how it used to be a professional sport back in like the 1800s. Like they used to have it indoors, and like women's 6 day events, and I just always thought it would be cool to bring that back and like bring it more into prominence again. So yeah, I think that yeah, what we did last year, I think it's, created inspiration for people to go further and
Hmm.
to push their human limits in a different way. And you have to think of it kind of as being like a stage race. Like, we have these stage races on trails with like the Trans Rockies, and I know there's some in Europe as well. But yeah, I mean, you have to think of it in stages and days, and like how do you break it up, and you try and do like a certain amount of running each day to accumulate, to get to that finish line. So yeah, I think there's definitely a lot more intrigue within the past few years, and even things like the Moab 240. I know like Courtney did that back in 2017. And so yeah, there's like we said, it creates more drama, like it creates more interest for people to deep dive in and do the dot tracking, and yeah, I mean now we have live streams, we have video and drones and commentators.
Yeah.
It's like I don't think the Olympics can handle could handle it, because people's attention spans only go for like maybe just 2+ hours. But we, us ultra geeks can enjoy it, and be able to tune in for many days. So
How do you find the difficult? Because you say when someone's out on a 300-mile desert run that the aid is difficult, but there's a different side of it running round and round the track where you've got that aid available to you on every lap. Like, should I stop and get something? How do you manage to block that out? What sort of
yeah.
do?
Yeah, that's a great point. Like you feel like you always have aid there, and you're trying to hyper focus and tune it out. And yeah, I said, I found out last year that I'm autistic ADHD. And so I have the brain and the ability to be able to hyper focus and to push through sleep deprivation, because I have weird sleep to begin with. I've always had weird sleep since I was a kid. I used to be able to play video games all night and get minimal sleep. Even in college, I used to pull all-nighters. Like, I think for between my undergrad and college and grad school, I mean, every time I had finals week or tests, I could stay up all night and then take like a 40-minute nap and then go in and take a test. So I feel like I was always preparing myself for ultra running, even going back to being a kid. And that's kind of where my mindset goes when I run these ultras, is I'm able to kind of get into my headspace and block everything out. But what I found with my 6-day race was I even though I have this ability to hyper focus and to like just push through anything, at the same time, like I have to remember to stay in tune with my body and to because otherwise I'll space out too much. I'll forget to drink. I'll forget to eat. I'll forget that I started getting a urinary tract infection by day 4 of my 6-day race. And I had like already normalized in my head like that I was going to push through anything. But I was getting to the point where I was ignoring the pain. I wasn't taking care of myself, and I needed help. Like I'd push like beyond that limit. And it was just because I'm autistic. I have the ability to, it's both, blessing and a curse that I can push through anything. I can hyper focus, but at the same time, I need to remember to stay in tune with my body, to keep it together, to stay healthy, so that I can keep pushing my human limits for 6 days. So
That's very
What
interesting.
methods do you use to help to ground yourself?
yeah, great question. So yeah, I have a timer on my watch that I set up for every 30 minutes to remind myself to keep fueling. And yeah, there's been times when I've done like trail races where even if my watch is like beeping and reminding me, I might be spaced out, and then I'll realize like, oh my gosh, I just went like 90 minutes and forgot to take a jog.
Yeah.
That's happened before. And so yeah, I just have to be like more mindful and just yeah, keep checking in on my watch. And yeah, I kind of break it down. When I did the 6-day race, we had it planned that every 4 hours I was going to have a meal. So we had planned like all my different meals that I was going to have. And yeah, I found that as the days went on, like rather than going 4 hours, I felt like it ended up becoming more like every 2 hours that I felt like I started feeling like, okay, I think I need to eat like more cheese. Like I started
Tacos.
needing like this. Yeah, more tacos. It was funny how like my diet kind of gravitated from I think I was eating like what was I eating like the first days? I was kind of like mixing it up more, and then it evolved to I just wanted tacos.
It's whatever you
Ta-
need, isn't it? It doesn't matter.
yeah, calories,
Your
lots of
body knows,
calories.
doesn't it? It knows what it wants, and it can
Yeah.
work that way.
I started wanting cheese and tacos, pretty much. Cheese tacos and donuts.
Nothing wrong with that.
I will take that 30-minute watch idea because I'm doing a 24-hour race in September for the first time.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
That sounds like a good idea to sort of.
Oh, for sure. Nutrition, the nutrition timer. I don't know what watch you got, but any kind of timer that you can set up is like a lifesaver.
Yeah, okay, I will do it.
So what
That's awesome.
are you hoping for in your 6 day race in Hirosaki?
Gosh, every time you do a race, like I think about the going from my first 24 completed 24-hour race to my second one. I mean, there's such a huge learning curve to the first time you complete something to the second time you do it, and you try to take what you learned and improve upon that. And yeah, I got to give credit to Megan Eckert because it's important to break human limits, to set like new milestones. And so I was commenting with another friend that we were like Megan is the founder of the 600-mile club now.
Okay. Yeah,
She's
yeah.
the founder. So yeah, but yeah, I mean that's definitely, she'll definitely be an inspiration for me. And but yeah, I mean I want to go as far as I can, and I definitely think it's possible to break the men's records. And whether that happens for 6 days or I have to go 1,000 miles, like it seems like the further that we go, that women go, that we start to close that gender gap to the men's world records. And I
Mm.
haven't, I'd have to look at the math of what Megan just set the world best. I don't know what the gender differential is for that. But I know like with my 48-hour world record that it was a differential of like 8%. And then my 72-hour world record was a differential of 7%. So I start to close that gap the further I go. And my race last year, I had a lot of health issues that kind of curtailed me. I kind of knew by days 3, day 4 that my ultimate goal of trying to close the record to the men's world record wasn't going to happen, because I just had to take care of my body to like keep it together so I could get through the final 6 days. So yeah, I definitely like learned a lot from that experience. And yeah, I mean we had an experiment going last year as well. I mean, I did 4 blood draws during my 6 day race. I did 3 drug tests. I had a lot of extra things that I was having to like devote time to, that things that were out of my control. But yeah, I mean, I did my duty of contributing to the science world and being part of
Yeah.
the research project. So it'll be really interesting to see what we get out of that. But yeah, I mean, the Hirosaki 6 day race in Japan, I just want to take everything I learned from my first time and just improve upon that. And definitely try to reach 600 miles, see if I can reach 1,000 kilometers. I've
Mm.
had a couple people tell me that they think I can reach 1,000 K. But yeah, ultimately, I aim really high. I shoot for the moon when I go for records, and so I want to go as far as I can. I'll definitely have it in my mind that like I think I can break the men's world records, and we'll see if it happens for 6 days. So
Oh,
I feel like believing it is step one to achieving it. So you gotta believe it to make it happen. So
You
oh,
have to
so
at least
that.
set off at the pace, don't you? To if you don't believe that you can run the pace even at the beginning, then that's it. It's
yeah.
already gone.
Yeah. I've mentioned that I'm kind of like a horse that puts the blinders on, and I have a one track mind when I go into the race, and I go as fast and as far as I can. And there could be things happening around me, and I'm like that horse. But at the same time, like I mentioned, I gotta stay healthy. I gotta keep my body together. I can't be ignoring the signals in my body telling me, okay, your bladder needs more help, or yeah, you got to stay healthy to go that. It's kind of this fine line between pushing your human limits but also keeping your body together. So
Do you think, I mean, obviously, in addition to your great genes, physically and physiologically, do you think this sort of neurodivergence allows you to have that focus and that mental capacity to go for these goals where others may actually fall to the side or not have that focus to drive them.
Oh, for sure. For sure. That was something that when I met with the psychologist last year, and she wrote a letter and wrote all of the traits that I have. I'm a perfectionist. I want to do everything like to the detail, like everything in my life, like going through my entire life. I'm the type of person that would hit a golf ball all day, every day when I was like 5 years old. Like before I had that same sort of drive as a runner, I was doing it at golf, at basketball. I remember pushing myself in the driveway playing basketball to the point of blacking out and like realizing, okay, maybe I need to go get some water after like a couple hours. So I'm the type that I'm just so driven and so focused, and I want to do everything perfect. And I think that that's been one of the greatest challenges for me getting into ultra running is it's possible to be perfect. I have to strive for excellence. I've had to shift my mindset and be like, okay, I'm going to make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay, it's totally fine. But I still have that mindset of this perfectionist. And I mean, yeah, that's what drives me wanting to, strive for things that are, kind of far out there. Like even when I broke when I set my 100-mile world record back in 2017 and I broke 13 hours, that was over an hour faster than what Ann Trayson had run. And I had put my goal out there on Facebook but before that I said what my goal was. The reason why I thought it was possible was because I thought it was possible to go for 10% off of the men's world records. And so from a statistical, I'm a math geek as well. I like math. And so I was like, well, I think it's possible to go for 10% off the men's world records. And that's going to be like 12:20, 12:30 for 100 miles. And people didn't believe me. They didn't believe me. They're like, do you realize that's like over an hour faster than Ann Trayson? Like in their mind, they thought the limit was Ann Trayson, and they weren't thinking how I was, that from a statistical standpoint, 10% was possible. And I said, well, it's possible. 10% is possible. So I just went out there and shot for that, and I had equated it to 75% of max heart rate effort, which for me is like a steady long run pace. So I had practiced that in training, and then when I went into the race and I focused on that effort, and in my mind I said it's possible. I said it's possible, and I'm just going to hold this pace as long as I can, and we're going to make it happen. And so I ended up running 12:42, over an hour faster than Ann Trayson, and I like made it possible, And so I think like I said, you have to believe it to achieve it. And yeah, I mean, I have that mindset that like I'm already seeing that, the further I go, the closer I get to the men's world records. And so whether that happens for 6 days or 1,000 miles, or I have to keep going even further beyond that, I'm going to push my human limits, and I'm going to believe it's possible. So,
well, you will achieve it then.
It's going to happen. We'll hope it happens for 6 days, but yeah, I'm going to keep going further for sure. So,
Can I ask? So this attention and this focus and the attention to detail that is such a large part of your character and your enjoyment of the maths and the numbers and the figures and the history. If I can just take you back to last year, obviously this brought out a controversy. Do you want to just let us know in your own words all the things about the records and your objection and all the things that happened around that?
oh yeah, so you're talking about the whistleblowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so yeah, let's talk about it. This is my first time to really talk about it, and yeah, I mean, I've been in the sport for 10 years. I set my first world best back in 2015. I've had to work with the officials for 10 years now, like going through the ratification process, knowing the rules. I mean, I'm somebody that has attention to detail. I know the rules. I'm very diligent. And so yeah, I've been through the record ratification process 14 times with the governing bodies. I've had 18 drug tests. And so yeah, and I know how much it matters and how important it is to abide by the rules, that those standards of conduct have to be upheld. And so yeah, it was very obvious last year that there was what was happening, that there were rule violations happening in the sport. And it's interesting because it wasn't just me that was noticing it. It was other people, the chatter that was happening on social media, the other people were talking about what was going on. And I try to tune it out as much as I can, but I start getting tagged on social media with claims that my world records were broken. And like it happened for months last summer, that claims that my 48-hour world record had been broken. And then I started asking my husband about it. I was like, this race wasn't sanctioned by, it didn't have the label, it wasn't sanctioned. And yeah, I mean, it ended up like, I started realizing like, okay, there's a lot more going on than just this race not having the label, not being sanctioned. And I started deep diving on more that was happening with this race. And then I talked to some friends, and yeah, people, there was just so much, it just kind of opened up like what was going on at this event. I was like, has anybody reported this to the IAU? I mean, I had no idea, and I just felt like, that I had to at least, bring these concerns to them, just because it had been ongoing for months. That I mean, we just knew that this race didn't have that there were rule violations already from this race, and that I already had the assurance that my world record had not been broken, because, well, the lack of sanctioning, the lack of a label. But yeah, I mean, I felt like somebody, I mean, it had to be reported to the IAU. And yeah, I mean, they wrote back to me and said that yeah, that they can't validate records at this race because it had a lot of issues with it. And so yeah, I got that validation from that race. And then it happened again at a different race. Rule violations happened, and it was very obvious watching the live stream of this race that what was going on at this race. And so yeah, I mean, there was just it wasn't just coming from me, that there was a lot of chatter. Like Giannis Corres was speaking out about what was going on. I mean, it was just like so much was happening. And I mean, I just deeply care. I know how important the rules are, and I very deeply care about upholding the integrity of the sport and the records. And I know how much it matters and how important it is. But unfortunately, there's people in the sport that don't understand that they don't understand why the rules matter. And so unfortunately, I was retaliated against because I did bring concerns to the governing bodies and to the organizations. And yeah, I mean, there was just a mountain of evidence to support my concerns. And I got the validation twice from the IAU that they confirmed that they couldn't ratify records at these events. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I was retaliated against because of my whistleblowing and bringing concerns. And yeah, it's put me on quite a journey the past 8 months of yeah, where I'm at right now. So
But you come through it positive,
yeah.
and you're back again. It does seem crazy that there seems that there's uncertainty around who should actually be in control and set the ratification and set the distances. And it's like, in one hand, it should be simple. The distances should be set and ratified by whichever official it is, but then that seems to be changing, and there's confusion over. It's like, why is there confusion? Surely this should be a simple process.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the IU is under the patronage of World Athletics. And so the IU is our governing body that they are recognized by World Athletics. And but yeah, it's and I like even like just looking at the history of the sport that there have been other organizations that have come and gone in the sport over the years because they wanted to formulate some other organization for some other cause. But yeah, ultimately it's the IU that is our governing body that has a records ratification process, that has a records committee. I mean, they're the ones that have the due process to ratify for multi-days, for 48 hours, for 6 days.
Mm,
And I mean that due process is important because
yeah.
it validates that all the rules have been followed. And then once I think there's like maybe like 8 members or something on the records committee that so it's got people from all over the world. It has that independence, to go through that ratification, have that independence, and they vote on it. And then it goes to the IAU Council, who then votes on whether to ratify a record or not.
Yeah.
So that due process is important. I mean, it's the checks and balances to make sure that a performance, followed the rules. And yeah, I mean that's important for all athletes. It's not just important
Mm,
for, I obviously hold the world records, but I deeply care about upholding the integrity of the sport for all athletes. I know how important it is to the history of the sport and maintaining fairness and equality and these standards of conduct that we're all held to maintain good sportsmanship. And yeah, I mean, I've had my world records broken over the years. I had my 12-hour world record broken. I had my 24-hour world record broken. And I've always celebrated the other athletes that break my records. Like it was, for me, it was so cool at the 24-hour world championship because I was racing with Japan's Miho Nakata. And I think we kind of toggled back and forth like early in the race. And I could just see the grit on her face and the determination that she had. And even though like just in the race, I remember just watching her and like being okay, this girl has it. Like she's a fighter. And I was so inspired watching her during the race. And I like one of my favorite sayings is iron sharpens iron. And so it's a really exciting time to be in the sport right now. And yeah, I mean, I held the world records for many years, and now like I've got competition, and we're just going to bring out the best in each other, and we're going to continue to elevate the records. And it's a really fun time to be in the sport. And I feel grateful that I'm 43 now and that I'm still able to do it. So we'll see
yeah.
how many more years that I can continue to like compete with the younger women. But yeah, I mean that it's exciting. And yeah, I mean I'm here to support other athletes that we're trying to follow the rules. We're trying to bring out the best in each other. We're trying to do it fairly. So that's really important.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's almost like the ultra running is just exploding in so many different ways and in so di many different directions. It's almost just a bit messy still, and no one really knows who's really in charge of what. And yeah, it's
Yeah, and I know like I because I'm involved at the Pro Trail Runners Association, and it's the same sort of thing. Like the sport is growing in trail running, and you want to. I mean, it's ultimately going to be that even trail running is going to have to align more with world athletics and the governance and the rules and the regulations of world athletics, just to maintain those standards of integrity. And so yeah, trail running is kind of going through a lot of the same things of, how do you maintain those standards and, and to be able to compare performances across, I think they've got like the UTMB index, they have the ITRA, there's like all these like different like
yes.
indexes now to be able to like qualify. I don't even know, they have like stones or something to like get into UTMB.
Oh God.
And
Yeah.
I like it's so like out
It
there.
is.
Like they're trying.
Everyone's fighting, aren't they? For oh, well, ours is the best. Ours is the standard. Ours should be the one that you follow, and no one's taken it yet. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, just trying to figure out these standards, to be fair for athletes, to, who's going to get support for this race, who's going to be, part of the first wave at UTMB, like women having, the same number of like media people covering them and awards, and there's all these things. I mean, we're trying to strive for equality for women and gender equity to achieve equality. So yeah, I mean, it matters. It matters,
Oh,
especially for women. For women, I mean, we're trying to, improve like women's to grow the women in the sport now, and how do you create different standards to support women to improve, that gender equity to achieve the gender equality. So
mm,
I mean, yeah, I care about it. I obviously care about it, and I'm involved in both the trail world and in ultra running, and trying to advocate for that fairness, for that equality, and yeah, I mean, I've been in the sport long enough now that I feel like I have to be a leader, like because I have the experience of what I've dealt with personally, but then also trying to improve the betterment of the sport, for future generations. So yeah.
and
You're absolutely right to put your own foot forward. You know, you're one of the biggest ultra running athletes in the world. So for you to go to them and say, look, these records aren't right, then they shouldn't be ratified. It's not the right course. Like I do a local road race here in England, and we have to get an official course measurement and give that to England Athletics. But if it wasn't policed more closely, I could move that start line if I wanted to, move it forward 50 meters, for example, and then someone could go and break the course record. No one would be any the wiser. So you need really comprehensive checks on, and there's so many extra races springing up every single, every
yeah.
single week. That it does need a lot
And
of people looking at it, and yeah, I
that's
think
it. What you do, Camille, filters down to what people like Robin do. It's important whether it's a world record or whether you personally are trying to run your best over a 5 mile
yeah, exactly.
course. It impacts everyone.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I'm not trying to be a hard ass here. It matters. World records matter. And I've really been inspired. Giannis Kouros has been speaking out because he was at the top of his game 30 years ago, and he cared about the rules. He knows how important they are. That he's been through, I don't even know how many different world records he's set, but he went through the ratification process as well. And so he understands how important the rules are to maintaining fairness, maintaining equality, and good sportsmanship. And I mean, I'm the same way. I've been through the ratification process. I understand how much it matters. And like you said, you have to have independent oversight to ratify performances. That if you didn't have those checks and balances, that how can you validate a performance? Like you have to have many people involved, and you have to have that independent verification and validation of a course to make sure that it's the distance that that was taken from the race. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. The thing is, there's a lot of nuances to the rules, and it's not just opinion, that it's objective. It's definitely, there's objectivity to it. And so, yeah, I mean, these details, these nuances, we've had to learn these nuances. And then because we've worked with the officials over the years, and whenever I've had questions, I ask for clarity from the officials. I'm like, well, what does this rule mean? How do you apply this rule to 6-day events? And like even when we did our 6-day event last year, we had the IU's Hillary Walker at the event, and trying to interpret world athletic rules which are made for the marathon and for the track. How do you apply those rules to a 6-day event? And so fortunately we had her present at the event, and I'm somebody that likes to ask a lot of questions, so I was so like happy that she was there and that I could ask like all my like dying questions that I have. And so yeah, I mean, we created my 6-day world best. We created an ironclad performance that it definitely met like all those checks and balances to be validated. So
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's I think it's nice. It's great to hear it from you as well, and from your perspective.
yeah, it's important. It's important. And but yeah, I mean, I with what I experienced last year, I mean, I want to move forward from it, and I want to be able to collaborate with people to to learn from the things that happened last year. What do we need to do going forward to work together to understand, especially for other athletes that want to pursue records, that want to break my records. How do we educate? How do we educate the athletes? How do we educate the officials? How do we have, do we need to have like more IU presence at, some of these events to just have that independent oversight to ensure that they're following those standards? So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things, but I mean, I just care. I just want people to know that I just care, and that it's not like, this is not like personal. Like, I'm not trying to like go after somebody. I'm not trying to harm anybody. It's just a matter of upholding the integrity of the sport, and, ensuring the future of the sport, that it continues to stay fair for everybody. So,
Yeah.
I hope when you're done smashing all the records that IAU offer you a position, because it sounds like you should work for them.
Yeah.
Be the perfect spot for you. You could go and make sure
yeah.
everyone's doing it right, and it's your job.
Yeah.
That's funny. I recognize like right now, and in fact, I even wrote an email to Hillary. I told her I recognize, I have conflicts of interest because I am an athlete in the sport right now, and I served within USATF. I was the secretary for 12 years, and I was also an athlete rep, and so I recognize, like, whenever you have a conflict of interest voting on anything, that you're supposed to abstain from voting. So yeah, if I got involved with IU now, I'd probably get involved with the Athletes Commission. And I've been in communication with the Athletes Commission because of what I experienced last year. They ended up creating a confidential reporting system so that anybody can bring their concerns through this form, so that they couldn't experience what I dealt with in terms of retaliation last year. So yeah, I mean, those are the sort of things that, even national organizations, national federations need to ensure the safety of sports whistleblowers, so that we can bring legitimate concerns forward, and, to feel safe, to feel supported. And so, yeah, I do see myself getting into leadership within the IU, but I also recognize the conflicts of interest that I have, and I've shared that with Hillary Walker before. Like I've told her, even though I'm reporting these concerns, and I recognize that, I'm the current world record holder, that this is not personal for me, that I would still, even if I didn't hold the world records, I would still report the concerns that I have, because I care about the integrity of the sport, and it's not personal. Anybody that's trying to twist, my actions, of trying to report concerns, that this is not personal. It's about caring about integrity and caring about fairness. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I said, I'm like a leader in the sport, that I hear what other people are saying, and I feel like, okay, somebody needs to take action on this. And obviously I know the rules, and I know the people with the federations and the IU, and so like I've had good relations before, from working with them over the years. And so yeah, it's just a matter of being able to collaborate together and have that respect with each other, that this is about caring about the betterment of the sport and the integrity. So
And open communication.
Yeah, communication. Yeah, and it like being able. I sent you some details about my thoughts on communication. But yeah, I mean that's something. Being neurodivergent, that the way that I communicate could be different from neurotypical people. I'm somebody that likes details. I send highly detailed emails, and I'm not, it's not that I'm like trying to question somebody or like, like I have good intentions basically. And so I ended up putting a disclaimer on my emails that mentions that I'm neurodivergent, that my communication style may be different.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just want people to be aware that, if you need clarity of somebody's intentions, that you should ask them directly what they mean, and not try to make judgments or assumptions of the way that they communicate. And yeah, that's important. Like you can't like I think there's like a meme that talks about how like you say I like oranges. I like oranges on social media, and somebody interprets that as, oh, are you saying you hate bananas?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, I don't know if you've
yeah.
seen that meme, but like people will twist what you say to mean something else through their own like biases or negative lens or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's my opinion. Like, it's like that's not what I said. If I say I like apples or oranges, I'm not saying that I hate bananas.
Well, I mean, this is the power of language, isn't it? That's lost on social media, because that's where 90% of the issues are, is that, you lose the nuances and the context in 140 characters or 280 characters or whatever it is now. So yeah, it's lost. The art of
Yeah.
communication is being lost in so
It's
many ways.
crazy. It blows my mind. Like, there's been so many times that because of what I say or do or don't do, that people twist that to mean something else. And then I go and like read, like I might see, I mean, I try not to read the comments and try not to read the forums or whatever, but like I've had so many situations where people they twisted something that happened, and then it like blows up on social media like, oh, she wasn't at the finish line of this race, she's showing bad sportsmanship. And I'm like, I was tired, I didn't feel well, I couldn't be at the finish line. Like, it's crazy that people like will
Yeah.
twist something to mean something else. Like, that just like blows my mind. So but I have to tune it out because I am a public figure. It's not like I could be defending myself in every situation. But yeah, that stuff happens. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to defend yourself on social media, you'd be there all day.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not possible. Like, I just have to tune out the noise. Like, in fact, that was something I did last year on Facebook. Was I like started unfollowing and like removing myself from all these forums. And if I do not comment on a post or like some forum post, that it doesn't mean that I'm not supporting that person. Like, it's like I'm trying to do I'm one of the most active people on social media, and I'm trying to support everybody I can. But if I miss like giving a shout out to somebody, please do not take that personally, because I really don't want that to happen. I don't want to create some sort of like misunderstanding or judgment, or people taking what I say and twisting it to mean something else. And I mean, it just blows my mind, really.
Well, I love the fact that you are back on social media. I love I
Thank
want
you.
I love
Appreciate
the
it.
bloopers. I love the positive and the fun side of it. That's what we like. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, yeah, thank
Comrades.
you so much.
I just got
Oh
Robin
my
to watch it
gosh.
before you came on. That was so funny.
I It's ridiculous. And it's like 8 years later since that happened. I hadn't watched it in a while, but I when I started watching it here like 2 weeks ago, I found myself like I forgot because it's been so long since I did that I was like a spectator. I was like cheering myself on. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could like do like a narration of this, like as a spectator, like my point of view as a spectator.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think I did like one take of like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, and whatever I say is gonna be my reaction to it. And so I recorded that narration, and then I didn't realize like when I shared it to social media, um yeah, I mean it was kind of my own creative thought to like narrate myself as, like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
spectator.
Brilliant.
And then I had like at the top, I was like, I don't know if people are gonna understand this, that I'm like narrating myself in the video. But it just blew up. I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, I think it's got like 20, I don't even know, 28 million views now.
Wow.
And because of the suspense of it, like you have to watch the whole thing
Oh,
to
I
see what
know. You're like,
happens.
no, keep going. Don't keep going. You gotta keep going.
Yeah, like keep going. And so the like watch time of it is at like 30 years now, because most reels are like really short, like maybe
Yeah.
under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And this one the average watch time is like 40, 41, 42 seconds. So like cumulatively for 28 million views so far, it's like 30
Funny.
years of watch time.
Oh God.
But I hope that like people, just the emotion that it's brought out in people, it's been really cool. Like I've gotten so many like messages of people like being inspired by it, and how they were cheering for me. And then I've also got reactions of like saying, what was she thinking? Like she was so like out of it. Like it was just weird to see all the reactions, but for the most part, it's been really positive, and people were
Yeah.
inspired by it. And yeah, I'm glad I did that. Even it's been 8 years later, and it was really fun to do it as from a spectator point of view. So
Yeah. No, it's brilliant and it's positive and I think it's great because it shows even the best is human and makes mistakes and yeah, you're out of it too at the end of the race.
Yeah, like people didn't realize like the Comrades marathon, because it says marathon. They're like, oh,
Oh
she
yeah.
ran a marathon in 6 hours. Like, what, they're like, that's not very good. And so I had to comment like, okay, well, it's like 55 miles with like 6,000 feet of climbing. And so yeah, it's funny because like I mean, most of the people that have watched it don't know what the Comrades marathon is, and so they're kind of like,
Oh
know
God.
what to think of
It's
it.
another
So.
Oh
Just
God.
another marathon.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
People
Oh
absolutely love reaction videos of people's stuff. You could do literally a whole series of like pro ultra runner reacts to this, to this, to this, and people
mm.
love it.
Yeah. I've actually like I'm like I have so many videos now like that where I had like a blooper at the Black Canyon 100K where the I don't know if you've seen that one. There's a drone that was over me, and I hit a rock and I fell, and I landed like head like my
Yeah,
mouth
I was
on
telling
this
Robin about
rock.
that too. Yeah, yeah. You had it on Twitter for
Yeah.
ages.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I had it pinned on my
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm like there's so many like videos like that where I could like narrate. I could narrate the race videos, or I mean now you can do all these cool things with reels, like adding text or
Mm.
like different images and things. So and like I got to bring back the archive videos that I've had like from my races and
Yeah.
training, and like kind of put a new spin on them. So yeah, I'm like this, like I could just turn my entire Instagram into like bloopers or something, you know?
Camille's
Do
blooper
it,
account.
do it, do it.
Oh well, Robin, have you got any more questions?
uh, Yeah, I do, but I'm conscious of how long we've been.
No, I like you've got me. Like this is literally like I mean it was such a treat to like get back into podcasting and yeah, so much has happened. So much has happened since I last talked with Kate and this
Yeah,
is only my second podcast since August. So I'm like a lot has happened. So ask me your dying questions and yeah.
What was it like setting the course record at Spartathlon?
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
That race was magical. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I literally like when I got to the so I think I was in like third or fourth place. Like it was like breakneck speed for the first like 90 miles. And then we hit that the mountain section and when I hit the mountain section and I realized I think Connor had told me that I was like just under thirty minutes back, first place. And it's like you hit the mountain section, literally the top of the mountain's at like 100 miles. And so it was like I'm not somebody that like says a lot of expletives. Like I'm kind of like pretty reserved, but I definitely had some expletives in my mind thinking, you know, like like, okay, it's I gotta do this. Like I gotta like put the jetpack on and I gotta fly over this mountain and I gotta make it happen.
Mm.
So yeah, so after I hit that mountain section, it was like put the hammer down. And that last like 53 miles of the race, I mean, I was just absolute beast mode. And I say that it's kind of like the I call it the hand of God. The hand of God came over me that final 53 miles. I mean, I was just an absolute animal. And that's like the portion where you're going through the night. And because of my ability to hyper focus and push through sleep deprivation, I was just absolutely on fire for that section. And yeah, I ended up I took like 2.5, let's see, what was it? How many hours? I think it's like maybe 2 hours or just under 2 hours. I forget what the course record was before, but I ended up running 22:35 and it's something like 2 hours under
Yeah,
the course record.
yeah, it was 2 hours, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was incredible. I felt so like, I think that I want to say that that was probably the best performance of my career. And I got to give credit to the other women in the race because we definitely brought out the best in each other. It was such a cool experience. And we had my friend Nora in it and Satu got third. I mean, it was like a who's who of women's running, women's ultra running, and we brought out the best in each other. It was like a sword fight. It's like a three-person sword fight. So it was a magical moment, and like I feel blessed that you know it happened and that we were all there. We all brought out the best in each other, and yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, that was it was I mean do you find I don't know if being in the US perhaps it sets you up a bit better, but a lot of people that run from the UK they say they find the roads really like off-putting, the cars, the traffic, the fumes. Are you okay with that, or do you find it affected you at all?
Oh, serious. Yeah, at Spartathlon. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the first time that I did Spartathlon, I almost got hit by a sprinter van. And I just didn't like going into it, I didn't realize like it was going to have all these like external challenges of like I mean, when you do like a road marathon in the US, they usually have it coned off and you feel safe and you're not having to deal with like getting on sidewalks to dodge cars
Yeah.
or dealing the risk of dogs, off leash dogs. And so
Yeah.
yeah, Spartathlon, that's something you know I tell people. I'm like, if you can get on the Spartathlon course and you know get to experience it with the cars, with the dogs, going through those villages Because yeah, I mean there it has these challenges that you wouldn't expect. And the first time I did it, I almost got hit by a sprinter van and it threw me sideways and I ended up having a bit of a concussion and I ended up dropping from the race. And
Oh
so yeah,
no.
it was kind of this like yeah, I mean I was like I was just not prepared for that. Like it created so much like tension and anxiety for me. And especially being autistic, like I said, you know, I'm the type of person that like hyper focuses and so yeah, I wasn't anticipating all these like external challenges and the stress that it caused for me. But yeah, I came back the next time and I like made it happen and I did a lot of course rec for that race. Like we trained along the course. I got used to running through the villages and like all the different and you can get lost in those villages because it has like all these like twists and turns. And so yeah, I just got myself like really prepared for it that when I set the course record and won. And yeah, I mean I think it was a good learning lesson that, you know, doing that course rec can make a difference and prepare you for those challenges that you don't normally get in other races. So
And it's just like on no other race. What were the sort of 70 odd aid stations like? Do they even, it sounds like like most of them don't even really help in a weird sort of way. Like it's just a family with orange juice or something like that.
yeah, I mean, it's great that they do have a lot of aid stations. And yeah, I mean, you definitely feel very well supported and everybody there is trying to get you to Sparta. So, it's really cool. I mean, the aid stations are great. I think I had like, when I went back and looked at my watch, I think I had like maybe 16 minutes of stop time, whether, you know, getting some type of aid or, you know, whatever, which is actually
Wow,
pretty good.
that's
It's pretty
amazing.
good. Like 16 minutes. I mean, I think about some of my other races. I mean, I've had like way too much stop time sometimes, and you're trying to whittle down that stop time because that's a definitely a part where you could make up time and but I was just so like I started that race like back in third or fourth place and then I realized like it brought the tiger out of me that final 53 miles of like I was just running through the aid stations and hyper focused and just wanted to crush it. So
And crush it, you did.
yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
think
Go
that
on.
was what I wanted to ask
That
most.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally
Well,
recommend it. Between the Comrades Marathon and Spartathlon, like I mean, I feel blessed that I've won both races, and those are the two races that I recommend the most. In terms of road ultras, Comrades is kind of the shorter version of Spartathlon. But yeah, Spartathlon, like since I've gotten into the longer stuff, Spartathlon, I would do Spartathlon, you know, as long as I possibly can. And Comrades is amazing as well. But yeah, those are two races I would totally recommend anybody.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why I'm doing the 24-hour race is to sort of see where I stand in sort of terms of qualification for Spartathlon. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they have their what's the qualification for men? Do you know? Like
I looked at it
it's
today.
like 200 and something kilometers for
Yeah, I think
24 hours.
if you can run 225 kilometers,
Okay, that's what I thought.
24 hours,
Yeah,
yeah,
something
then
like that.
you're through. Yeah,
Cool.
auto
yeah,
qualified. Yeah,
yeah.
126
Awesome.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what a great event. Yeah, it's and just the history behind Spartathlon. Like I when I went in to win it, like it's the same way with Comrades. Like I get to know the history of events so that I can appreciate the journey that Pheidippides went on and then get to know the course wreck, get to imagine, you know, the journey that I'm going on and all the things that you encounter uh, and yeah, and then also like the people, the original people that started the race. Like I got to know the history from how Spartathlon came about, all the other I think like Hillary Walker. When I saw Hillary, what was it like a year and a half ago? I saw her at the World Championship. Because I had just won Spartathlon, and I talked to her. I was like, I know you won Spartathlon too. So for me, like it's really cool to get to know like the other past champions and legends of a race, and like really get to know the history, because it just comes back to you when you're actually doing it and knowing the significance of what you're doing. And yeah, that just helps to like elevate me just thinking about that when I race. So
That's great to know it so intimately. Yeah, that's a really good idea to really delve deep into it. Yeah, really get the most out of the experience.
Mm.
Yeah,
totally study the history. It's fun.
How far off is Hirosaki?
What is it, like 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's
okay.
like 2.5 weeks. So
Not
yeah,
long, not long. So that'll be
yeah.
a whole new kind of history, because you've not been to Japan before, have you?
I have not been to Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I mean, they have such like all these like 100Ks. They're really into doing these red 100Ks. And yeah, I feel like every time I like go to an international race and I get to like race and meet the Japanese runners, like they are so hardcore. Like they're so like we were just in Taipei back in February. I mean, they have it down. Like they have their system when they do these races, and it's like so interesting to like learn from them, how they do ultras. So yeah, I think I'm probably gonna love it. Like I'm so excited. I'll feel like a rock star being there. They'll be all excited to have me there, and yeah, it's gonna be like good energy and good vibes with everybody, and be able to go for 6 days. I mean, it's all that positive energy for many, many days, and yeah, it's gonna be super fun.
Oh, well, we wish you the very, very best. Go
Thank
and
you.
get that 1,000 miles. You can
Woo!
do
Get
it.
to 1,000K. Try and join the
1,000K.
1,000 miles,
600 mile
sorry,
club.
1,000 K,
I'm
not 1,000 miles.
yeah, I know. Yeah, we
All right.
gotta say
Well, you
that
did say
right.
shoot for the stars.
Shoot for the stars, exactly.
1,000K. Yeah, you can do it, Camille. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming on and talking to us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And it's a fun time. The month of May is going to be awesome. So it's already started off with a bang, and yeah, try and keep that magic going.
Yeah, you will, no doubt about it. Take care.
Awesome. Yeah, you too.